Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Jersey Comic Krew. We're the podcast who talks everything about your comic news, your comic books, pop culture, geek culture, everything. And as always, I'm Chris Heller, and with me is...
Rob Moran. What's up?
And just so you know, there will be some spoilers ahead, especially for some comic books. So definitely take a look at the description below, what's going to be spoiled. And pay attention, because we have a lot of information.
Yeah, speaking of a lot of information,
The Segue King, everybody.
I mean, that was a rickety segue. I'm not going to even try to hide it. So, Superman Year One has been announced for June release.
Yes.
So, what does that mean? So, Superman Year One means the first year that Superman decided to put on the cape and become a superhero.
Yes.
Year One is going to follow his exploits during that first year. This kind of, superhero first year trope first became popular with Batman.
Yep.
Right, Batman Year One. And how he became who he really was. So this is going to be the same thing to see how he became who he really was. And now, I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of things like him adjusting his power to fighting people, right? Not doing too hard and not doing too light, stuff like that. Maybe he kills somebody. No, they're not going to do that in a Superman book. But they're going to definitely play with him.
By accident.
Yeah, by accident.
Collateral damage.
Yeah. Like he throws a truck and then it goes. So it might be him getting used to his power. I don't know.
Well, and it's going to be dark. So, as Rob said, Batman Year One came out in the 80s. That was a Frank Miller book. This is also a Frank Miller book.
So Frank Miller is the man who made Dark Knight's...
Dark Knight Returns. Great run on Daredevil. Invented Elektra.
He does a lot of the darker stuff in DC and even in Marvel.
And this will be part of DC's Black Label. So this is going to be the giant-sized books like Batman Damned.
Which show the bat penis.
Yes, which issue one shows the bat penis, which is like $300 now.
By the way, I saw... no, it's not that bad anymore.
Oh, the signed ones are like $300-$400.
But they canceled it. The book.
What do you mean?
Apparently they're not issuing out issue 3.
No, they are. It's delayed.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, because Lee Bermanjau's art's ridiculously.
Okay. I misread.
Yeah, no, it's delayed another month. But there's only 3 issues. Like, even if you cancel it, you got to put out the last issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, the last issue will come out. But yeah, Superman Year One, June release. It's going to be Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. So I'm really excited. I want to see kind of like his first year, kind of like you said, realizing his powers, kind of realizing, is he more Clark? Is he more Kal-El?
Him adjusting to is his life at the Daily Planet, right?
Yeah, that too. And he just had a book that came out recently, not Frank, but there was a Superman one-shot that came out by Marv Wolfman, who did Crisis on Infinite Earths, called Man and Superman. And it's a 100-page comic.
Okay.
4 chapters. And it's phenomenal. It's to me one of the best Marv Wolfman books I've read ever.
Really?
Yeah, it's that good. And it's literally, I would say it's prior to Year One. It's like Superman just got to Metropolis.
Okay.
Like Clark's first couple weeks in Metropolis, figuring himself out. A lot of human doubt. A lot of I'm not peak Superman. I'm I don't know who I am yet. A lot of regret and kind of Ma and Pa, I can't do this stuff.
So you'd recommend people before they read Year One read this?
Definitely.
And what is it called again?
It's called Man and Superman.
Okay.
And it's a one shot. It was $10.
Okay.
It's 100 pages though, 4 chapters in it, square bound. It's awesome.
Square bound. So
it's
like
a square bound comic. Yeah. So it's phenomenal. And then Superman Year One will be awesome. Frank Miller, can't wait.
So, in other comic book related news, the man Donny Cates is going to do a Silver Surfers Black miniseries.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You good?
Yeah, I think I'm dying, guys.
Oh, okay.
So.
We'll die quieter. So.
Oh, my God. I can't die in my own way. I mean, this is half of my show, too, so if I want to die on my time,
He's gonna
I'll die.
On air. I have 85. It's like Deadpool 2, he never dies. He's just I'm going. I got a billion things to say. Oh, God.
But wait a minute. Donny Cates is making him come. Oh, okay, I'll come back. All right, now. So, tell us a little bit about this, Chris.
Yeah, so all the rest of this comic book news is coming out of C2E2, which by the time you guys hear this, will probably be wrapping up.
C2E2 is the
big Chicago Comic-Con.
Chicago
entertainment
comic convention. Well, I forget that.
It's but it's one of the biggest Comic Cons. It's probably, as far as scale, the 3rd or 4th biggest con in America. San Diego obviously being number 1, New York being number 2.
I think it's 3.
I think C2E2's 3 as well.
Yeah, it's
Orlando has a big one though.
No,
MegaCon or whatever it's called.
Yeah, but it's not the same. I think if I'm not mistaken, San Diego.
It's San Diego,
New York. Then it's C2E2, and then it's MegaCon, and then Boston.
Maybe, yeah. Boston's big too, but
yeah,
C2E2
is big in also gaming stuff too.
Yeah. C2E2 has a lot of news from all the sectors. So, But yeah, Marvel has been doing their kind of like mid-year reveals of big stuff. Obviously, all the first part of the year has been leading up to War of the Realms, the Jason Aaron story with Thor, which is really exciting.
Real quick, War of the Realms. That's with the villain from Thor 2, Malekith, but much cooler.
Wait, comic book Malekith.
Yeah, comic book Malekith. A dark elf is going to take over Earth and the other realms. He has recruited different factions from these other versions of the multiverse. I don't know.
It's almost like Lord of the Rings meets like Game of Thrones meets Marvel.
That's a good way to put it.
It's like a massive war.
And he destroyed like the Rainbow Bridge. So pretty much the way that they connect to the other realms. Mm-hmm. And he has his own way to get to them. So he's going to recruit them all, and he's going to go to Midgard, which is Earth, and just take over.
That's the last. Yeah, he saved Earth for last on purpose because of Earth's heroes. So the whole story will be based on Earth and Thor and the Marvel heroes fighting back. It's going to be great.
Correct.
So they announced kind of their second half part of the year, and one of them is a Donny Cates miniseries called Silver Surfer Black. Last kind of we saw Silver Surfer. He's been kind of coming back. Like he had his own series with Dan Slott for a while.
He did.
Donnie's doing Guardians of the Galaxy, so that's a big part of it. Silver Surfer was a big part in the Infinity storyline that we just went through, and he kind of became Galactus's herald again. He's
slowly but surely coming back into prominency in the Marvel comic book universe.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, oh, maybe this is preparing us for the cinematic version.
Do you think Donnie will be doing a Silver Surfer like ongoing series soon after this?
I don't think so. I still don't think Silver Surfer is going to be big enough to do it.
Okay.
I think him doing this miniseries, doing the Black, doing this focus on that character is going to be good. We saw it with Dan Slott, and it was fun. This, I think, is just going to be another notch in that Silver Surfer to bring him up into our mind, and we're going to see everything else. I think we might get him more showing up in like a team book.
I agree with you 100%.
I don't think he's going to get his own series.
I think this is a prelude to a story he's going to use him in Guardians. After they do the
Guardians.
In Guardians, after they do the Gamora story right now.
Okay.
I think like the Silver Surfer Black series is going to kind of be a prelude to what Guardians big arc for Donnie will be going towards.
So right now in Guardians, guys, Thanos is dead, and his consciousness is about to be essentially uploaded into a new person.
Yep.
People are chasing Gamora. We'll get into that in our comic book review in just a moment. Don't worry. But what if it's the Silver Surfer?
That'd be crazy.
What if that's
Thanos
the whole thing?
Surfer?
Thanos is trying
Silver
to go into
Thanos?
the Silver. Very strong, cosmic level being.
He's fast as shit.
He's stronger than most people in the universe.
He has more knowledge in the universe than most. He's
exactly.
To me, Silver Surfer is the R2-D2 of the Marvel universe, and by that I mean R2-D2 in Star Wars is kind of like.
You really love R2-D2.
Who doesn't? So to me, R2 in the Star Wars universe is the narrator. He's the herald. He's the narrator. He's everywhere. He knows everything because he's been through every movie. He has the knowledge. He's seen it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's kind of Silver Surfer. Like, he knows what's going on everywhere in the cosmos. He has been there. He knows every planet. He knows the systems because he was the herald of Galactus. He's kind of seen it all and knows where stuff is. If Thanos uploads himself to Silver Surfer or Galactus,
not gonna be Galactus,
which I think is too big.
Yeah.
I think that would be great as far as, like, you know, Thanos is almost getting an upgrade of knowledge, and Silver Surfer could be very unassuming as, like, it's actually Thanos.
And that information would be dangerous to Thanos. Him knowing that in and outs, he could just take over empires even better than he used to.
Yeah.
And we see that power of Silver Surfer in Cosmic Ghost Rider, right?
Yeah.
You see him in books, stuff like that. He could just decimate people. And a lot of that is because of the Silver Surfer power.
Yep.
I mean, he also has a couple other things.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show how strong this character is.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see that.
It'll almost be like a Superior Spider-Man-esque, like Doc Ock taking over the mind of Peter Parker, but in a bigger way.
It's just going to be absolute carnage if Thanos is in his body, destroying people. And speaking of absolute carnage, there we go. Announced at C2E2, Absolute Carnage is going to be a comic book series that's coming out of August of 2019.
Can't fucking wait.
So Absolute Carnage,
yes,
I think has to do about Carnage. Don't get me
definitely.
wrong. Carnage, the villain of Spider-Man.
Yes.
The son of Venom in a way, right? It's the offspring of Venom?
It's the offspring of Venom. A piece of Venom got into a cut of Cletus Cassidy, who was a serial killer in in jail, cut off of Eddie Brock, got into the actual bloodstream, created a red diabolical symbiote that took on the mindset of a serial killer, Cletus Cassidy, who's a psychopath. And yeah, Carnage is one of the greatest villains, I think, in the Marvel Universe because it's so unique. But yeah, this is also a Donny Cates book.
Is this a miniseries or ongoing?
No, this is This is an event. This is a Spider-Man. This is more of a Venom event.
Good.
Donny Cates also writes Venom. Phenomenal book. We'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm.
And this Carnage series is spinning out of those one-shots. There was a Carnage-born one-shot,
Yes.
Web of Venom, Carnage-born. There's a couple Web of Venom books. This will be a 4-issue series, event. A 4-issue event starting in August.
The reason I ask, because the last time we see Carnage in a big scale like this, he had his ongoing series, which was not very well done.
Yeah,
it had its moments.
Yeah,
and it's worth if you're a big Carnage fan, you're gonna read it anyway. But I read it, I was like, oh, that was kind of cool. This was not so much. Okay, and it was like a middle of the road kind of book.
Yep.
But like you said, Carnage is a big name villain.
Yep.
He has this high capability, and with Donny Cates, the way he reinvented Venom and some of the other characters that we have been watching, like he has been on a roll. We say we can't talk enough about him. To see him handle that character and get even in the deeper, darker side of it, because with Venom, he's making him more of him. He's humanizing him, right?
Yeah,
he's making him more relatable.
Yeah, and an origin.
Correct. So he's going to do the same thing to Carnage, but in a darker, menacing way. So that's going to get people in that Carnage world loving it and seeing that darker, crazier side of things. And I'm sure Sony seeing this is going to be really happy. Like, oh yeah, get people all about Carnage. Get these uber comic fans loving Carnage again, and then they're going to see our movie when we do Venom 2.
Yeah, and we've seen it already with Donny, and this book will be about basically Carnage is going after anyone and everyone who's ever been in contact with the Carnage symbiote because it remembers, and Cletus wants all that knowledge and all that power. So he'll be going after a bunch of Marvel superheroes like Cap and everyone else. But yeah, two things. Number one, if you want to read really good Carnage, this is called Absolute Carnage. There's a story back in the early 90s called Maximum Carnage. That's a phenomenal book.
What's it about?
David Michelini and I think Mark Bagley. It's basically Carnage. It's the ultimate Carnage versus Spider-Man. Almost like we've had Venom versus Spider-Man, like Lethal Protector and all this stuff. This is the ultimate Carnage, Cletus Cassidy versus Spider-Man. And Spider-Man can barely take him down himself. He teams up with Venom. They have a truce. Amazing book. So this is almost like the bigger version of that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is awesome.
But he's fighting Venom.
Yeah, and this is Absolute Carnage seems to me like Venom versus Carnage, but everyone else. Maximum Carnage was Maximum Carnage right now is the quintessential Carnage book.
Okay.
If you want a Carnage story. And then I'm sure Donnie's going to kill it because he's awesome.
So you recommend reading that before this and
100%.
Obviously reading that before you see him in the live-action movie.
Oh, 100%. Definitely.
Okay, perfect. So more in Marvel news, we have The Prodigal Son has returned.
The Prodigal Son!
And we're not talking about James Gunn. You saw that in a couple of days ago where we're talking about that. We're talking about Jonathan Hickman. He's returning to Marvel in July 2019.
Thank God.
Jonathan Hickman is a content creator for Marvel. He has wrote some of the best Avengers stories out there right now.
Ever.
His work was very good. He took a break from Marvel for a while to do some of his own creator-owned projects.
Yep.
And now he's coming back. He has this big story planned, and his announcement was really funny. He was like, Jonathan Hickman is to mirror Tom King's Mr. Miracle, the DC kind of thing.
Yep.
So it was really
it's a shot at DC.
Yeah, it's a deep cut. Like if you're reading all that, you know what it is. It's great, and if not, just know that he was poking fun at DC, and we love that, right? So to see him back, this is good because a while ago we were talking about it. If you haven't watched episodes beforehand, we'll tell you right now. We were a little worried about Marvel's future, right?
Yep.
We were worried about a lot of the big name creators are leaving. You know, they're doing their own thing. Things are changing. They have to develop new people. And they had, Donny Cates and some of these other,
Donny Cates is the prime Marvel guy right now. Him and Dan Slott.
Exactly. Those are the two, right?
Yeah.
And now we have
Jason Aaron.
3. And now Hickman coming back. That's 4. They're of their big names because you need some of those quote unquote A-list celebrities in the comic book world to write these big books. Write these.
To me, they're bigger celebrities than most of the movie people, like the comic book people.
Like what movie people?
No, like actors and stuff.
Okay.
am more drawn to like the comic writers and stuff like
Well, yeah,
that.
because you're following their creative work.
Exactly.
You know their voice. You want to get into their mindset.
And Hickman is up there.
And it's great because those guys are very down to earth. They're like, oh, thank you for reading my stuff. Let's talk about it for a little bit.
Yep, 100%. They're great. So Hickman, and there's also in this, like the way I found out wasn't even through C2E2. It was in the books themselves.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, in the comics. So, like, I literally turned a page of this week's new comics, and it was a white kind of like newspaper colored page, and it just said Hickman, July 2019 Marvel. And I was like, ah! Like, I just started screaming, and like Erica's in the back, like, are you okay? I'm like, ah! Like,
are you okay? Is that how she sounds?
No, I just make fun of her.
All right,
so like I was just screaming, and my buddy, who's a huge Hickman fan as well, I took a picture immediately. I was like, did you see this? And he sent me like this funny like pic of a dude doing a split and looking back, and he's like, my body is so ready. So like we were talking about it, and the big question is, what do you think he's writing? So I've had a discussion with my other comic book friend, not you, because I want to discuss it now.
You have other friends who like comic books?
The deception. Yeah.
You sully my good name, sir. I cannot believe this. Let me think. What would he be writing? Not Avengers.
No.
He did Avengers.
It's not going to be a book that has now. My original thought was...
go ahead.
Because he does, like... Anyone who's read Hickman or wants to know, like, he did the last really long Avengers/New Avengers run with the Illuminati that ended in Secret Wars, the second Secret Wars.
Which was phenomenal.
Well, technically the third.
Where Doom became God Doom, destroyed people with Infinity Gauntlet wasn't even strong enough.
Yeah.
Black Panther wore the Infinity Gauntlet
He went to, like, the Beyonders and got omnipotent power.
Yeah, it was
and
insane.
changed reality itself with just himself. Like, it was unreal.
He killed Thanos with, like, a snap, which was fun.
That was great. But yeah, so he does, like, Hickman does really in-depth cosmic level stories. Stuff that is massive, stuff that is intertwined. Like in Avengers, we started with Cap having nightmares, which we didn't know why, and like a year and a half later, we figured out why, because the Illuminati like had Doctor Strange take away his memories, and he was having flashes of it, and it all connects. Like Hickman connects all the dots, and it blows your mind. So he's a master at that. So I originally thought Thor. Because Jason Aaron
is leaving.
Might be.
Thor.
Yeah, like might be. We don't know officially yet, but Jason Aaron seems like he's doing a finale. Like this War of the Realms seems like a finale. But I don't think Thor is big enough.
And Thor is also after War of the Realms, right? That's a hard follow-up.
That is. Well, we think. We haven't read it yet.
I mean, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to do Avengers. Does he take over Guardians and make Guardians huge, a flagship? But Donny Cates is doing very well.
Donny Cates is on that. So my thought and my buddy's thought was Eternals. Marvel's doing a movie on Eternals.
I like that.
It's the only book that really isn't out right now.
Real quick, who are the Eternals for the people watching and listening at home?
Basically, like the other kind of Guardian/Nova of the galaxy, like Sentry and a bunch of other characters.
We also see, a different form of the Guardians of the Galaxy in that, but they're not really the Eternals.
Yeah, I think Donnie is paid his dues, and he's a lock on whatever he's doing right now.
Correct.
And I wouldn't mess with that because he just started it too. So, but I personally think I agreed with him. I thought Eternals is a big book he could be doing. It's one of those books like if he went to DC, he'd be doing New Gods.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like it's that big.
So, Eternals. I like that idea,
especially since the movie, and we know that movies kind of dictate.
And it expands the space world
exactly,
and gives a foil to that.
Yeah, and it gives you material to read before the movie.
I would really appreciate the Eternals. I was thinking Nova Corps, but I think Nova Rich Rider is not big enough yet. I feel like somebody could cut their teeth, if you will, on that book and play with that playground with everybody.
Might be Donnie too, because I think
you think Donnie's going to do that.
He's in Guardians.
Donnie,
now.
You think that might be spreading Donnie too thin, doing that many books?
No, sorry, let me clarify. I don't think Richard Rider is going to have a Nova book right now. I think he's going to be a part of Guardians.
Oh, okay.
Because he's in Guardians, and like people are looking for him and stuff like that, which we'll get to.
And then he could eventually spin out from there
if they wanted to.
If they wanted to.
Yeah.
They have a good story.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I like all that. Mm-hmm. But guys, you know what it's time for. You good?
Yeah. No, I'm saying we'll see what he actually eventually writes.
Okay.
Yeah. When it's announced.
Okay.
Yeah, not you. I was
not
finishing.
Me. I'm not seeing nothing. Yeah. I'm just speaking.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, we are going to do the comic book breakdown. So this is where we take the comics from last week's New Comic Book Day and we talk about what's happening in the world of your favorite heroes to prepare you for today's new comics that are coming out. So that way, when you go to the store, you can pick up the next issue. You already know what's happening. You can jump right on, and you can start reading and falling deeper and deeper in love with the stuff that we do.
See.
So, see. Oh, Spanish. Okay.
I know a word in Spanish.
Oh, look at that. I'm going to do the rest in Spanish.
Good luck.
Now, imagine.
If you did, I'd be very impressed.
I would be too. I don't know. I would be speaking in tongues. Somebody possesses me. First book we want to talk about is Justice League 20.
Yep.
So where we last left off, we saw Superman went into the 6th dimension. He comes back out. He's old in a white suit. He's talking to our Justice League members saying, we won. We did it. Come with me. I'll show you how we did it.
Very Willy Wonka.
Yes, very Willy Wonka. Where we see actually our Superman fall into this pit of darkness on a planet where there's no sun, and there's bodies of other Supermen there, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously our Superman said for dead, and this is all going to be a trap for
the Justice League.
So Chris, why don't you take us from there?
Yeah, so basically it's just we see this world that is supposedly fixed overnight. You know what I mean? Which obviously should be a red flag in comics anyway, because if the world was fixed, we'd have no comics.
Correct. But it's time has passed in their world, right?
Yeah,
everybody's aged like 40 years or something.
And we find out different stuff. Like we originally thought the Batman in their dimension was Damian,
but
and it's Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
So that was cool. How did you feel about the Martian Manhunter Hawkgirl future relationship kid thing? Do you think that's a real look into the future, or is that kind of just a random thing?
I think that might be just a random thing.
Okay.
I think that's just something that
I still kind of want her and Jon Stewart to hook up.
Oh, I do too.
But that's nostalgic TV show stuff.
Yeah, so. I mean that's all there is.
Who was the Flash in the future?
I think that's Barry.
I don't.
I think that's Barry and Jon Stewart still.
Is it Barry just with longer hair?
Yeah.
Okay. I had no idea.
I think so.
So here's a real good here's a question for you. There's a scene in that book where Barry and Jon Stewart are kind of talking, and they're talking to Flash and Green Lantern.
They're talking to the younger characters.
Exactly. Jon Stewart in the book in the future self is like a White Lantern.
Well, yeah, he's has all the energies in it.
Yeah, he's like an ultimate lantern kind of thing. So they're making they had this comment which was very much like, hey, we fixed the time stream so we don't have to go back, and we kind of did it together, and they kind of do this thing where they have the arms around buddy buddy, and they do the 1-2 thing.
Yeah.
Did that seem more like a relationship to you?
Oh.
To me, it was. I couldn't decipher.
I didn't get that at all. I see how you say that now.
I had a hint of it. I don't know the exact lines. But it seemed more like it was we could do anything together, right, bud? And it was and the wink and the gun kind of thing. Yeah, and it was
so
like
you
they were
think
kind
they're romantically entangled?
I don't think so, but I don't know.
I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no as well, but I just got a hint of thought of is this something?
No, I think they're
more
just.
Than meets
I
the
think
eye.
they're just best buddies, and they
Gotcha.
go to barbecues together with their kids and grandkids and great grandkids.
Because he does mention Iris.
He does.
So I don't know.
Okay.
It was just something that I wasn't sure what I was reading as far as context. I might have been looking too deep.
And then when they were talking about the scene, there was the scene where Hawkgirl and Martian Manhunter of the future were talking to themselves and showing them their world and how it's pretty much like an international spaceport.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you're the messenger, and you carry the message, you create the message. And once you guys figure out your roles together, you guys are love each other, and there's nothing stopping you."
Yeah.
With these, and then they go into Wonder Woman and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. With these couple of scenes, I'm like, all right, you're just trying to sell it so hard to them. I don't think
on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose. I don't think it is, but I don't know. We also see Mr. Picklick. He's in his own cocoon, and then you see Starro, which was a great, cute little scene.
That was great.
Starro was running as Robin, and he's like, great. "You're my favorite Robin ever." Batman goes to him.
I'm like,
"What is this? What is this?" I was like, This has to be in the other world. Yeah. And he's like, he was just dreaming. I was like, that was a cute little throwaway scene.
I'm up.
And then Starro reads Mr. Picklick's mind, and somebody was talking to him saying, you must do what we agreed upon.
Yeah.
Which I have no idea what that is.
And then he went big and started fighting Mira.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
I remember.
So, I'm very interested to see what happens based on a couple of things. Number one, our Batman, goes to Gotham. And
it's nice, bright, and white.
Dick Grayson's there, and he's like, it's really light. And Dick Grayson's kind of like, yeah, that's what it's called, the sun. Yeah. It happens. And he's like, I have a few questions. He's like, where are the villains?
Yeah.
Great question. Because they were talking about Lex throughout this whole book. basically saying like, yeah, we stopped him from doing like bringing Perpetua back.
Where are they?
Where are all the villains? And I think one of the biggest reveals kind of is Perpetua is the mother of Monitor, Anti-Monitor, and the World Builder.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that makes the Anti-Monitor and Monitor brothers.
Yeah.
And siblings.
They were always brothers before that.
But like this solidifies a family tree.
Tree.
Exactly. And a multiversal family.
Yeah, and they were like, she created it, and then they shaped the world so that way they could do A, B, and C.
Yep. I thought that was a big moment. And then obviously the ending where this future Superman kind of goes back and he's like, let's talk, Clark. And our Superman's kind of like ready to. I wanted more of a throwdown.
Yeah.
But that's probably going to be the next issue.
Yeah. It's definitely leading up to that.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get the fight now, but definitely a fun issue. So the next issue is where tensions are going to get higher than ever. This whole issue was just, like we said, the setup, right?
Yeah.
Setting up like them falling into the trap and everything else. Next issue, they're probably going to break out and go into that.
Yeah, and I think this is three issue arc, so the next issue is the last one of the storyline.
Yeah.
Yep.
So moving on, by the way, you recommended this to other people?
Definitely, 100%.
Okay. Me too, of course.
Scott Snyder, dude.
We talk about this book pretty much every time we get it out.
I recommend everything Scott Snyder. I love Scott Snyder.
Scott Snyder's making applesauce. You recommend that?
100%.
There we go. All right.
Good guy, too.
Moving on to... He's very nice. Moving on to Guardians of the Galaxy number 3. We were talking about it earlier in this episode. Guardians of the Galaxy number 3 deals with a follow-up of everybody's hunting Gamora. Everybody believes that Thanos' conscience is going to go into Gamora.
Which means it's not.
Which means it's not. We all know that. The Black Order took his body. They're going to look for his head, right?
Yes.
They go to the Collector, said, where is his head? Hela comes in, gets the information.
No, Annihilus. It was Annihilus.
What do you mean?
They went to Annihilus to get his head back.
Yeah, Hela. No, I'm saying.
Oh, beforehand. Okay,
before.
Gotcha.
Hela went to the Collector, got the information.
Yes.
Hela and the Black Order go to Annihilus. They fight some people to get the head.
And the kids are kicking it like a soccer ball.
Exactly. So I guess something has to do with the body there. Maybe they're trying to rebuild the body. We don't know.
Oh, I think Hela's trying to bring him back.
Yeah, have to, right? Then we see on the Guardians of the Galaxy side of things, right? There's turmoil. Like we have Cosmic Ghost Rider fighting with Groot. Cosmic Ghost Rider wants to kill Gamora. He's like, no, I already killed Thanos. I already done through all this. I'm killing her because that's where it's going to go. That's the end of the discussion. And I'm like, you really think it's going to go there? Or do we really think that? Did we not just listen to the conversation we had earlier this episode where it's going to Silver Surfer? Like, do they not know? Like,
are they not listening to us?
Are they not
listening?
Is
anybody listening to me?
Oh, my goodness. I know you are.
Definitely.
You guys are home.
And but
you.
Yeah, wait, definitely.
But yeah, so then they pretty much he breaks off from the Guardians. He quote unquote quits, joins this new team that are going to kill Gamora.
Yeah, like Darkhawk and all those guys.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Groot pretty much relieves Peter Quill of power. Says, "No, we're going to save Gamora." Peter Quill reluctantly goes with them, tells them where to go to try to save everything. But the big twist at the end, Nebula, who's with the other group, says, "Oh, she loves that fool. We know where he is. We just got to go ask him." And it's Richard Rider. We found that review last time.
Yeah, he's been running from them because they know that he has all the information. And on top of that, the guy who went after the Kree guy who whips Richard Rider and traps him is looking for Null.
Yes.
Who that's a big Donny Cates pull too. So if you've been reading Venom, Null is the symbiote god who originally took over all the symbiotes and like created them, and this guy's looking for Null. We don't know why.
Why do you think?
I think he's going after him for some. He wants information on.
He looks very similar facial structure wise.
Yeah.
They know like they look very similar. What if it? Yeah, exactly. What if it's a relative?
Maybe.
Because like this guy
had a lot of
doesn't
power.
feel. Yeah, he has a lot of power.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel pain. Doesn't need to eat. Doesn't need to sleep. Doesn't need to do anything really. So
I think Donnie's connecting everything in his world.
He has to be right.
Yep.
So I mean that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and then we also see Richard kind of go away. He's on the run. Nebula's kind of smart. She's like, we'll just wait to see where he's going, like you said.
Because you cut him off from the Nova Corps and everything else.
And Peter Quill's drinking a lot.
Yeah, he's drunk.
Yeah.
He's drunked out, Kitty.
Yeah, he's still upset about, obviously, during the Infinity Wars, Gamora did kill him in one universe.
Yeah.
And then combined him with another person. He was with Groot, I think, right?
Yeah.
So, like, there's a whole kind of mentally broken split.
Yeah, she destroyed him, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of damage.
And that was, like, the love of his life. So, like, you have this happen, and it's just kind of like he can't really process it all.
How much a kick in the face would it be to Peter when he finds out that Gamora also told Richard Rider? I didn't even know they were, like, friends or anything.
I don't know. I mean, I think he'll be like normal Peter Quill upset.
Yeah, he's like, all right, whatever. Forget this shit.
No, like Peter Quill upset where he's like jealous more so.
Oh yeah.
And kind of like, are you kidding me? Him? Like, stuff like that. But I don't know. It's gonna be. I think the last part of this book is the big part, right?
The next issue, you mean?
Of issue 3.
Oh, the last part. I know.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
So the last part of this issue, which obviously big spoilers, Gamora is on a planet looking for Rocket Raccoon.
We don't know what happened to Rocket.
Because Rocket has been kind of missing since the end of Infinity Wars, which I think is partially to do why Groot is kind of a dick right now.
Yeah.
Groot's got like a wooden mohawk. He's got little baby Groots all over him.
Yeah, because Cosmic Ghost Rider cut off pieces and planted them.
Yeah.
And now they're like little stabbies, and they just run around stabbing things.
They're
like, stab! I'm like, oh my god, Groot.
And Groot can talk, which is actually interesting, but kind of annoying.
I think it's annoying because he's a dick.
Yeah, he's a dick. He is a really...
He's not a nice Groot.
Giant wooden
You're
dick.
like, oh, I'm Groot. And we're used to seeing baby, I'm Groot. And now we're like, fuck you, Peter Quill. I'm going to do this. Like, whoa, bro.
But I kind of like the whole, like, I am Groot where he says nasty stuff and everyone's like, whoa, and you don't know what he's saying, but it's funnier.
That is fun. That is funnier.
That is funnier.
Like, wash your mouth out with soap, young man.
Yeah, seriously. But, like, I'm interested to see, like, this is the storyline now that I am dragged I don't care about like even the Thanos stuff I liked, but the whole like she's searching for Rocket and Rocket is somewhere and it could be this, like it's almost like it could be anything right now.
What if it's true, but
what I mean?
What if Rocket's the body? What if Thanos goes into Rocket? It's like a Thanos Rocket.
That'd be badass.
With a little mini gauntlet.
I'm gonna get that gauntlet.
I'm gonna get that. Yeah. I'm gonna get that gauntlet.
For the gauntlet?
I can make it. It could be like you can wear it as like a bodysuit.
Again, I think Thanos is gonna be in like take over someone's body who we're not like can be unsuspecting.
What about what if it's his brother? Because we see a lot of his brother in this.
Yeah, we see Eros working with Gladiator, and Eros is kind of going through a monologue of mental like. Talking to his dead brother, like they call me the Little Titan. I bet that made you laugh.
Yeah.
Like I bet it felt good that our entire people on Titan were known just because of you as the Mad Titan. And Eros is kind of like the secondary brother. He's the Loki of the family. You know what I mean?
Even less, bro.
True. But like that role where it's like I'll never be Thor.
He's like one of Thor's like lesser known brothers that we read.
He's like the Boar of the family.
I read him like literally before I came here and I forgot his name. Yeah.
So like he's like the Boar of the family. And Eros is like he's kind of like Two-Facious. He's got
like a scar on his face.
And he's in like almost like a Professor X like hovercraft wheelchair thing. But yeah, they're going after Gamora, and so is Cosmic Ghost Rider and Nebula and Darkhawk, and Groot and them are like, hey, we're gonna save her. Mm-hmm. We're gonna save her. This is what we're gonna do. And Peter's like, screw her. She hurt me. I'm taking this way too personally. Yeah. And we find out she's going for Rocket. So I'm so excited.
So the next issue is going to be where, again, everything comes together. This is another setup issue, but it's very good. It revealed a lot of information. So next issue, I'm sure we're going to see, them colliding with Ryder or them colliding with her. We're going to find out what happened with Rocket.
Hopefully Ryder gets to where he's like trying to hide out. Maybe it's connected to Gamora and Rocket. Maybe it's connected to the Guardians. Who knows? I just want to see Beta Ray Bill kick some ass.
Oh, we will.
I've been waiting for that.
We will see Beta Ray Bill kick some ass.
Because it was great where he's like, where Groot's like, my second in command's gonna take you. He's like, second in command, and it's like he walks into Beta. He's like, it's only because you're a Norse horseman with a hammer that I'm listening to you.
An 8-foot giant,
giant horseman
with a hammer. If that wasn't the case, we'd be having a different conversation. And he's like, yeah, Peter, I know.
He's like, I know, Peter. All right.
He would though if he wasn't all those things.
That's true.
Peter
would
win
all those things.
Yeah. If he was just a regular horse, I think
Moondragon and Philibel are like, okay, whatever.
Oh yeah, speaking of Moondragon, Moondragon can actually hurt Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yes.
She's strong.
She's incredibly strong. She's the daughter of Drax.
That's crazy.
Yeah, with cosmic power. Indomitable cosmic powers. Aladdin?
Yeah. Okay. I know that. Speaking of cool powers, we got to talk about the X-Men. Yes. Uncanny X-Men number 14. Yep. This follows up the Mutant Liberation Front. They need to go after them because they're giving themselves a bad name, right? They're giving the X-Men a bad name.
Yeah, and they're basically... It's interesting. I thought they were going to go more into finding Jean and all the rest of the X-Men. Right now, it's more the who's left and who can we save and bring this into fruition.
Yeah, it's pretty much like they don't even have a stable structure to bring them back to.
Yeah, they're
what I mean?
Like sleeping in the basement of a bar, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're at this bar, and that's kind of where they're living out of right now, which I know Logan loves because he's just drinking beer.
Oh yeah, of course.
So yeah, like it's a lot's going on every front. Like they fight. They just took down Dark Beast in the last issue.
Yep.
He's working with them to try and like either find the other X-Men or do something we don't 100% know yet.
Just even get like other people on their list of like voice people they dealt with and try to bring them into the fold.
Exactly. So they're going after all this stuff and they fight this like almost like this giant sentinel type thing.
Yeah.
And they go into a country and they're kind of like in there. They're breaking laws and borders. And they find Calypso and the rest of the underground mutants.
Who throws a knife right into Logan's face and like stabs him.
Yeah, and she's like, your skull chipped my knife, which was great.
He's like, oh, sorry. Like, you're the one who attacked me.
He's like, tough. So yeah, and she's like, and Scott's like, why did you stab him? She's like, he could take it. And she pulls the knife out of his face. I'm like, oh God, like you still stabbed him in the eye. It's like not gonna not hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, another reason why I just love Wolverine. But yeah, so we have Magic on the team. We have Havoc. Everyone's in their classic costumes.
I love Scott with the long hair with the regular blue.
Same, the yellow and blue, amazing. I'm glad the visor's back, not the stupid X face. Yeah, I'm excited. And towards, again, obviously spoilers for everything, we get to see them kind of back at the bar towards the end, and Captain America walks in.
Yes, that's the big part of this, because before this issue, like a couple issues ago, Scott crashed like an anti-mutant rally that Captain America was at, I guess, trying to keep the peace and fighting. He's like, no, you need to leave. We can't do this. You're going to get destroyed, right?
And he's like, also, welcome back. But you need to leave.
Exactly. So now Scott is pretty much like trying to rebuild the mutant generation
in a different way and not be the Scott who was a dick.
Correct.
Basically,
like he's reaching out to the Murlocs. The Murlocs have the people lost. He's reaching out to the Mutant Liberation Front. Like he's doing all these things.
And the reason they they broke the law. They crossed a border country, and the reason was to save the Morlocks and like because the Morlocks were like most of them were all slaughtered, and they're like laying in the sewers.
Yeah.
And they were like, "What can we do? How do we help you?" And he's like, "I don't like you, Scott, but you need to save us." So they brought him to another country to kind of like so they'll live in peace.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's part of the reason why Cap is there. He's like, "Dude, you're breaking the law. You're entering countries. You're making a fucking scene. What are you doing? Like you just got back to life. What the fuck are you doing?"
And there's already
obviously Cap doesn't square though.
Correct. There's already like tensions with Avengers and being like the Universal Police, right?
Yes.
They're trying not to do that, and they have these things in place so that way if they go, they're okay with it.
Yeah.
So they're crossing borders essentially without sanction to do these things to give these people refuge, and that's why they had like that political agent. I forget her name. They were helping out with this to give them sanctuary.
Yeah.
So now the Murlocs are on their side.
Yeah.
Unintentionally, they weren't on the list, but they're going to go back to the Murlocs eventually and try to get them into the fold.
So one question before we move on to the next book.
Yeah.
What do you picture this X-Men team to look like when the dust settles?
Oh, I don't know.
Because this is what I've been picturing. Because I
don't even have an answer to that.
So
man.
I think obviously this arc is going to be like, hey, what do we salvage? The next arc is going to be like, maybe Dark Beast is the one who's like, hey, I found your friends. They're not dead. Mm-hmm. And it becomes the hunt to get them back with obviously a big villain trying to hold all that back.
Okay.
I think when the dust settles, we could have almost like an X-Men 92 feel to this.
Okay.
Because I want to open a page and just like feel that, like they're already in the costumes. I want to feel that theme song music from the TV show. Like I want to see that on page, but I also want it to not just feel like a rehash. But I think this book especially could be the answer to like the Scott Snyder Justice League book, where it's like they have a bunch of the characters from the old TV show. They have that feeling of fun and awesomeness. I think they could do that with X-Men more so than Avengers right now.
This is the reason we're paying so much attention to this book, because one, we're seeing a new side of Scott, right?
Yeah.
And like they're rebuilding,
and Logan's back.
Yeah, and Logan's back. They're rebuilding all these different avenues. It's a very weird political climate that they are in right now in the comic, right?
And it also reflects society as well.
Of course. And that's the number one thing that the X-Men book does, right? Mm-hmm. So them rebuilding and going through all this and going into these lesser-known characters, bringing more attention to them, right? Yep. Revisiting these things, growing and changing, adding in all this new people, kind of like creating a unified mutant front. I think that's where this ends for the most part.
Yeah.
All X-Men and other off branches of mutants are going to be like, okay, no, we need to all be together and be like for good.
Well, I think there also is a lot of questions I have to answer, right? Besides like where all the missing mutants went, including like Magneto and all these other people. But I think another big question is Charles Xavier, right? Like this feels like a classic X-Men book. They brought back the original title. They brought back, the 90s costumes, the characters we love. They need to bring back Charles. Like, we know he's kind of back from Astonishing X-Men. He's in the body of Phantom X.
Yes, and we do. And now he's called X-Man.
X-Man, and he's in his body, but it's Charles's mind. That needs to be solved.
We don't even know where he is.
No, we don't. And that needs to be solved as well. I think there's a lot of questions that kind of, like, Matt Rosenberg's going to have an interesting time of creating his own legacy of this book while kind of, I don't want to say fixing, but answering the questions that others left behind for him.
I think you said it best when you said this is echoing the 90s X-Men, right? Yep. This is getting to that, back to that feeling.
That Chris Claremont, Jim Lee era.
And this is what we're loving.
Yeah, 100%.
Last book we want to talk about, and what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Venom.
Yes.
Venom issue 12. Last where we left off in Venom, Venom was in the hospital being healed by the evil version of Mr. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. What's his name? I want to say Manipulator, but it's not Manipulator.
No, it's not. I forget his official name. But he's Reed Richards from another universe.
Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe.
Evil Reed Richards.
Yes. He's
I know you guys are probably screaming the name out while watching this.
Thank you. Or if you're not, you're like, okay, just keep going. Thank you. He's in like a containment field, like a sonic containment field, separating himself from the Venom symbiote.
Yep.
Because the Venom symbiote was feeding him lies, making him believe and tricking him, thinking he was sick, so that way they could stay together.
Mm-hmm.
In this issue, they crank it up even more so. An explosion happens.
Yeah.
We see the Venom symbiote go to his father, right? Go to Eddie Brock's father.
Yeah, who took Dylan away and is basically giving the whole spiel about, like, hey, Eddie's not a good guy. Stay away from him. And he's like about to backhand Dylan in the face. Obviously, we know, like, Eddie's father's a big abuser.
Yes.
He's resented Eddie ever since which we found out the car accident, which we thought Eddie was on the receiving end of, but he was on the driving end of.
Yeah.
It's a very dark, gritty story with a lot of real world stuff.
We see a flashback in this from somebody Eddie was sleeping with, like his only person.
It was Annie.
It was Annie. She gave up Dylan to the father, saying, since Eddie's been back, I don't know, I'm getting sick. I'm afraid to leave the house. Mm-hmm. Eddie can never know that he has a son.
Yeah.
But you need to watch it for a little bit. You're the only family I have, and then ran away, and we never saw her again.
Yeah, and that's how he got Dylan, and that's why Eddie thought Dylan was his little brother, not his son. So Eddie is still in the hospital. The Venom symbiote goes out on its own to stop and get Dylan back. Mm-hmm. And he stops the car, and he basically goes into the mind of his dad, and Eddie, quote-unquote Eddie, has a conversation with his dad about Dylan, and he's like, why are you taking my son? His dad's like, oh, you finally figured it out, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And basically called his dad a piece of shit and was like, stay away from us.
He's like, we're not making amends. I'm taking him.
Yep.
And you're not to touch him or touch me or go near me again, or I'll kill you.
Exactly. And he, like, basically leaves his dad on the dirt road, and his dad, after he leaves, is like, I'm sorry. He starts feeling it then once he's finally alone, and he's like, you'll never have anyone. You will be alone for the rest of your life. Which is a very real world thing. It's a very real world thing. There's a lot of people who deal with that shit.
Of course.
And on top of that, so we think kind of Eddie might be inside the Venom symbiote suit. It's not him.
I thought when I first saw it, I knew Eddie wasn't in control.
Yeah.
I thought Eddie was in the suit, and it was like the Venom symbiote talking and doing all the actions.
No, I thought it was Eddie having the conversation.
I know. I thought 100% Eddie was having a conversation.
Yeah.
I just thought he was like almost unconscious. Mm-hmm. The Venom was walking him there.
Gotcha.
Got to it, and then like he could have the talk subconsciously.
Gotcha.
But we find out, right, that it wasn't Venom at all. I mean, it wasn't Eddie at all. It was just the symbiote.
Yeah, it was just the symbiote, and Eddie was still at the hospital.
Yeah.
And it takes Dylan back, and basically the Venom symbiote leaves.
Yeah, and then
he's walks away and turns into like a random guy with a hoodie.
You two are better without me.
Yeah.
And transforms and leaves. And then it says continues in
War of the Realms. Yes.
So I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna like is my Venom gonna be gone? Is he?
No, I think it's gonna be like, so War of the Realms hits in April. It's basically crossing over into every Marvel book. We know Daredevil's gonna have a huge part in War of the Realms. I think he's gonna be the only, like, he's gonna be like almost the seer. Like, he gets this power where he's gonna
see what's going on,
like to see and like create the Rainbow Bridge or something like that. To
that'd be very cool.
I think that's what Daredevil's
gonna have,
because they were
collecting all the pieces to build the bridge back.
Exactly. So I think Daredevil's gonna be a big piece of that. So yeah, I think Venom's gonna like be off fighting. We see like Venom kind of fighting this almost like a fiery dragon. And if you notice the artwork, which amazing artwork for the covers of Iron Man, there's the Iron Man War of the Realms issue is Iron Man holding open the mouth of a dragon while it's breathing fire on him. So
it is.
Those two aspects are really interesting.
Do you think the dragon is like the Venom dragon coming back again?
Possibly.
Like the god, like Null's dragon coming?
I think the symbiote's going to have to fight some part of this war in San Francisco
without
Eddie, and Eddie's going to have to kind of hide Dylan, and they're eventually going to have to meet up and like I need you
because they're better than the sum of their parts.
Exactly,
right?
And it's going to kind of push forward like forcefully their relationship and getting over this arc and being like, we're going to be different, we're going to be new, and this is how we're going to do it.
So this right here, issue 12 kind of ends like the arc, if you like you said.
Yeah.
Of like him and being in the hospital and stuff like that. So you could pick up with the next issue and be fine reading, but like you should read all this.
This is hands down the greatest Venom book I've ever read.
Yeah.
Even with the David Michelini stuff. I there's no way you can miss an issue of Venom starting with Donny Cates. There's no way.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No,
I wouldn't recommend it.
It's too much like new world building, new origin, new characters, new character development. It's so good.
It does so much foundation work.
It does.
That you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't read it.
And it's giving for a long time, it's giving a character that was 2-dimensional, 3 and 4 dimensions.
I recommend you reading this full 12 issues of Venom more so within X-Men. X-Men you could pick up like 3 issues ago and be fine.
Yeah, after X-Men.
Yeah, after like with this you should read it all just because of how crucial the work is.
Totally.
And Chris, I think that does it for today.
I think that's everything.
Guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Jersey Comic Krew where we take your comics and break it down for you. You can follow us on all the social media platforms which should be down below. It's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Jersey Comic Krew, Cruise with a K, and of course you know that because you are here watching or listening. Make sure you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, or Google Play. And as always, I'm Rob Moran.
I'm Chris Heller.
And we'll see you next time.
JerseyComicKrew.podbean.com.